Everyone, Pastor Bruce here, and coming to you on this Wednesday, a few minutes behind. Sorry about that. If you're anybody who works on a schedule and you were expecting me to go live at 12 like I said I was going to, sorry. Uh, Hope you're having a good week, and I certainly hope that God is speaking to you this week, and He continues to bless you and with His presence. And I hope the message from Sunday has been resonating in your heart and kind of just moving around in your brain a little bit. I know for me, it takes me a couple of days to process things sometimes and really chew on what is said. And even though I'm the one speaking it, I still will chew on it for the days before and the days after. I'm really focusing on, am I living out what I'm preaching? I certainly don't want to preach something and then go out and do the exact opposite. So for me, I still continue to process and think about what God spoke and is speaking as I, again, look forward to the next week and process what He's speaking again this week. So this past Sunday, we did talk about our treasure, living on purpose with our treasure. What does that look like? What does it mean to be a good steward over our treasure? It goes so much further than just our tithe or just, putting money somewhere. It's so much more than that. It really is a heart issue that we're talking about. Money just has one of a unique power in our lives if we allow it to. Jesus was clear how easy it is to get stuck into the pattern of trying to serve money as our master, and He also made it very clear we cannot serve both God and be mastered by money. And I think a lot of us take that for granted, or I don't know if that's the right terminology, but we don't take it very seriously. We allow ourselves to be mastered by money, and we think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Come on, it's 2022. Like, we have to pay bills and we have to have all these things. I remember very early on, literally like one of the first or second messages I think I ever preached in my life was on this idea of need. What do we actually need? There's very little we actually need. And again, it really depends on how you define the term need. Even things that would keep us alive, do we need them? Well, it depends on what need is. If we're talking need as in staying alive, sure. If we talk about need as far as eternal security, then no. So really, where we draw the line on need is I think, a good indicator on where our heart's at. Do we need all the luxuries in our life? Absolutely not. Yet, many of us would say, in order to survive, we need this amount of money every week or this amount of money every month. Reality is, we're probably being pretty liberal with the word need. A lot of it's want, the things that we want to have in our life. We need that much money every month in order to do what we want. And so the word need is kind of used loosely there. So as we kind of process how do we live on purpose with our treasure, I hope you've been challenged to think, what does it look like for me to be a good steward of the finances God has given me? Again, if you're somebody who you say, you know what, I'm not going to tithe, it's never going to happen, then you can probably just stop listening now, because you're never going to be a good steward over your treasure. Because you'll continue to live in direct disobedience to Jesus and the Word of God, which tells us we should tithe. Tithing is a part of obedience, and really it's the bare minimum of being a good steward of our treasure. Do I say that because I want your money? Absolutely not. Same reason God doesn't say it because He wants your money. He wants your heart, and that's my hope for you as well, and for all of us, that God would have our hearts. And if we're not willing to be obedient to the point of just 10%, of giving it to God, then money has a mastery over us. No matter what we argue, no matter what we say, it does have mastery over us. The fact we're not willing to give God what He has told us is His means that we serve money, not God. If we served God, then of course we do whatever He asked us to, whatever He commanded us to. And so really, like we talked about Sunday, my question is, how are we stewarding that 90%? That is actually what God has given to us to steward. He hasn't given that 10% to us, that initial 10% for us to steward. He's told us that's His. We give it right back to Him, and then we look at the 90%. And I think very real, the reality is, if we look at where we spend our money, that's where we see the treasures of our heart, and that comes straight from Scripture. Wherever the treasures of our heart is, that where we spend our money is where our heart is. And so as we look at how much do we spend on ourselves, how much do we spend on fun, how much do we spend on our hobbies, and how much do we spend blessing others, how much do we spend investing in others and investing in the kingdom, that, what I call the offering. Every week we do our offering. I make it very clear to say we're giving God his tithes and our offerings, because the tithe is his. We don't get to say where that goes. That just goes to him. But then there's above and beyond that, we call the offering. We give above and beyond our tithe. And so where does that go for you? I know for my wife and I, like, we support one child overseas. We also give to missions. We also spend it investing in others right here in our community. And we actually enjoy it. We budget for it. We enjoy being able to bless others in different ways. I certainly have found much more enjoyment in that since I started budgeting it. I have always been a pretty big budgeter, and anytime I try to spend money outside of the budget, it creates some anxiety in me because I'm not living to the standards I've said I'm going to live. So before, I would kind of give money in different ways and try to bless people, but it was always outside of my budget. And so I actually had to sit down and make it a line item in my budget and say, okay, this is the money that's going to be for other people. Sometimes it builds up for a few months and we're able to invest it in a larger way, but more often than not, God presents us with opportunities on a regular basis in order to do that. And like I said Sunday, I'm definitely not trying to pat myself on the back or my wife on the back and say, oh, look at us, we're so wonderful, we're so amazing and all this. But I do want to share my testimony with you, and that testimony is that money has never been an issue in our marriage because it's never had mastery over us. It's always been a tool we used for what we want, for our enjoyment, for our needs, and for the kingdom. And we've had fun. We've enjoyed being able to give toward kingdom needs and bless other people. And God has always provided for us in ways that we are humbled by so often, because we just do not deserve for God to bless us in the ways that he has blessed us. But we also know we're going to continue to give to a degree that ensures money's just never going to master us, and it's never going to be a God in our lives. And if it does start to become one, we'll just start giving more away until we're hurting financially, if that's what it takes in order to break that over us. Jack and I've talked about that many times, and we almost always, if one of us says like, hey, I feel like there's this need I think we should give to, it's always like, yeah, okay, how much? What can we do? What do we feel called to do to give toward this need? And so we enjoy that aspect of our lives because we seek to steward our treasure well, and whether that has to do with just our finances or our home or our car, we try to steward it all well. That doesn't obviously mean that we just let whoever do whatever with it, because that's not stewardship. We are careful with how we utilize those resources as well, because we're told to steward it, and that. So we're careful, but we're also generous as we feel led to be, and there's probably room for growth in that. So we're certainly not experts in it, but I am a budgeter. So if you need help with that, with budgeting, if you feel like I want to be a good steward over this, I just don't know who to ask, I don't want to open my finances to just anybody, just talk to me. I'd love to sit down with you. Well, I know some of you have already contacted me and said, hey, I'd love to do a financial course if that's something you're willing to do or we're going to do as a church. Please let me know. I'd like to get a group of people and figure out a time. Doesn't even have to be on a Sunday morning. Can be like a Sunday school hour type thing, but it can be sometime during the week as well, where we can find some time to have a financial class where we can sit through it and talk about stewardship principles and how to steward our treasure well. If you don't have future planning, man, I cannot recommend more highly to you to reach out to the Orchard Alliance people. Let us know if you don't have their contact information. Just let us know you're interested in discussing future planning stuff, and we'll have them reach out to you, set up appointments with you. We don't need to be the middleman in that. We just pass the information along and then step away from that. We don't need to know any of the specifics of it, but it's a phenomenal resource that you have offered to you for free. You cannot beat it. Very, very knowledgeable people who will give you their expert opinions and advice for free and get you set up to steward your stuff even beyond when we leave this earth. So I'm ecstatic about that in our lives, that we're finally stewarding not just our present but our futures as well. that we would leave legacies that impact others even beyond our death. So yeah, I think that's all I have as far as recapping from Sunday. My hope for you is that we would steward everything we have well on this side of heaven, that we would steward all of our treasure. We've gone through my 4 big points when it comes to stewardship: time, talent, treasure, and temple. I hope we would steward all of those well. We're going to continue on with our series this coming Sunday, and as we kind of recap a lot of some stuff, but really hone in on our personal responsibility of that we were created on purpose, but for a purpose, and what that means for us. We also have baptism coming up this Sunday, so I'm super pumped about that. Love baptism Sundays. I think we got about 3 people signed up for baptism, so it's not. Yeah, I want to be careful. It's not too late, but it kind of is. If you are interested in baptism, reach out like now about baptism, and we might be able to still get you in for this Sunday. But yeah, really looking forward to that. A couple things are on the calendar, actually. Next Friday is Good Friday. We have our Red Cross blood drive here at the church at 12 o'clock. So if you are somebody who likes to give blood and you're eligible to do that, please let us know. 12 o'clock next Friday. Also in the evening, Friday, 7:30 p.m. is our Tenebrae service. It's our Good Friday service. It's a shorter service. It's not going to be all night. So we're probably looking at half an hour, 45 minutes. That service is not going to be long, but it's really meant to help us reflect on Jesus' death on the cross. If you've never been to one of our Tenebrae services, they're really cool. They're really great to help us, with our mindset, to have that mindset of what it meant, the weight of Jesus dying on the cross. So I'd encourage you to join us here at the church, 7:30 p.m. next Friday. What is that, the 15th, as we focus on Jesus' death on the cross, his sacrifice for us, and the impact that has on us. And I think that's everything. Well, tonight's youth group and Bible studies. So if you're an adult, we have men's and women's Bible studies available tonight here at the church. If you're a youth, we have youth group tonight. So come on out for that. And I think that's everything we got. It's Palm Sunday, if you know what that is. That's the week, the Sunday before Easter. So Easter's coming up fast. I'd encourage you to be in prayer and just reflection on what it means, what the entire Easter weekend is. Good Friday, Jesus died on the cross. Easter Sunday, Jesus rose from the grave. Huge weekends. Palm Sunday, this Sunday, is when Jesus enters Jerusalem on a donkey, and the crowds are all for him then. So be in reflection and prayer as we enter into what we call Holy Week. I'm excited for it. I hope you are as well, and I hope to see you Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Certainly hope you can make it in person. If not, you can always join us here online. Have a great week, and I pray that you are blessed.